You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 396 of the Citrus favorite podcast. Jeremiah Morrell here, joined by executive video producer, audio engineer, Mr. Zach Burcham, the guy that said he's going to be 15 minutes late, but teleported here from Indianapolis, Mr. Bones.
Howdy.
And my forever co-host, Tobias Fuke, is here. Welcome. Dakota Davis.
Today's episode features the four of us sitting down and talking to Mr. Lee Marcum here for his second time, just in time for National Donut Day on Friday, June 6th. We're going to be talking about Jack's Donuts, some of the challenges that they've faced. Then we're going to be talking about traffic, State Road 3, the potholes, flat tires, arson at Baker Park. And then at the very end of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about the Pacers being in the NBA Finals for the first time since the year 2000. So make sure you stick around until the very end of the show.
That's our plan. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes to provoke you, other times to make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. If you're a patron of this show, you just got a nice 20-minute bonus episode. Might have even been 25 minutes.
It was 24 and change.
It was a healthy Patreon.
Healthy.
Healthy in time, not healthy
Thick.
in what was consumed.
No.
There were a lot of Jack's Donuts. There was some coffee.
It'd get you well on your way on a Midwestern drive.
And it'll get you somewhere. So patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty. You can join there at any level to help get the show on the air. But if you are a $50 or more a month contributor to the show, you get your name, your business, whatever at the top of every episode. Mr. Bones, who are those people this week?
We got Jonathan Phillips over at Wetzel Ford in Richmond, Indiana.
What do you get there?
He's gonna find me the 1963 Lincoln Continental Cadillac convertible.
Convertible.
Yes, they shot Kennedy in.
That's true.
You got to get on a waiting list for one of those.
Oh, damn.
Who else do we have to say thank you to?
Blake Reese over at Varsity Outfitters.
Yep. Do all of our custom embroidery, hats, t-shirts. You're sporting one of their shirts right now.
Are you not?
Not today. I wore a different one today.
No. I'll take over the show. Don't worry.
I have to bring this one over there. Get it.
Let's go. What are we waiting on?
Nothing. I just need to go. I just need to get there.
More excuses.
Just need to get there.
Thomas Oakes over at Walnut Ridge RV. They have a lot. I noticed that coming in today.
You've been driving in on 38.
Yes.
You get to scope it out.
Yeah, they have a lot there.
They do. They got one for every size, every budget. You could live in one. You get a Brinkley, you can live in it and just move to Newcastle.
Okay.
Yeah. Those campers are insane.
You don't have to live in Rushville anymore. You can live up here with your people.
So why do I downgrade then?
And then who else we have to say thank you to?
We got Morrell Monument Cleaning and then Pops Recycle.
Yep. Both down there in Rush County. Joyce Morrell. You got a loved one that you want to, care for their monument this spring. Hit her up. She'll come out. And then Pops Recycle, the recycled Schwinn's down in Rush County. All right. All of the business is out of the way. Lee, welcome back to the show, man.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. It's funny being here because last time we were in Dakota's spare bedroom. Is that right?
Yep.
I think the cops broke it up when we were done because we were disturbing the peace or something like that.
Well, you know who lived across the road? Producer Zach.
Yeah.
We changed neighborhoods and Zach just followed the show. He used to get to see it after the we'd all have our conversations in Dakota's driveway after, and Zach would get to spy on it. And then we said, hey, why don't you just follow us to downtown when we move?
We always used to wonder what my neighbors thought was happening with all of the random vehicles.
Oh, it was
that
really
were
funny
showing
back
up.
in the day.
They probably thought you were dealing drugs.
Yeah.
So if you were, that would have been a great cover.
Why do these people with suits keep showing up in this random house?
Who was the guy that was running for? It was a statewide office.
Jonathan Lamb.
Yeah, they had the huge sign in the back of his truck. He was rolling an old
him.
Silverado. Yeah. Yeah, he's just parked in the neighborhood.
The funniest thing that ever happened there was when State Senator Mike Kreider showed up about 30 minutes early. So I had to just entertain him for half an hour by myself in my kitchen.
Give him like water in a bowl jar, and
Just gonna feed the dogs here real quick, Senator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always
And
fun.
I was 21.
Not looking like a serial killer.
Yeah.
he's a politician though. Politicians have to do things like that.
That's
Just
true.
part of it.
You just never know what you're gonna get. So yeah,
No.
we've churched it up a little bit. We're a little fancier in here now.
Oh, it's a great space,
And
and it's good to see everybody again.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to Zach because he's awesome. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever talk about what he does at the school with helping the kids out cross country and track. He has had a profound positive influence on my son, and he's a great guy. Just a great guy. Everybody else here, but Zach, you're good.
Kind of sums
You guys-
everything up right.
We are glad to have Zach as part of the show. There's no way to thank everybody that's part of this that makes this happen. This is a labor of love for all of us and a borderline community service project.
Well, I think it's amazing. Like, I really do, because, a lot of towns of our size do have something like this, and a lot of them don't. So I feel like it's a really good advantage, or it's something we really need to take advantage of more. We need to get more people watching it, getting involved with things like this. I mean, the show's already successful. Let's do what we can to use it for something positive in this town, and really help promote each other and lift each other up.
Very good. So what we wanted to talk with you about is, first of all, National Donut Day is this week. So the timing is phenomenal.
You are exactly right. Busiest day of the year, Jack's Donuts, National Donut Day. So much fun. Started by the Salvation Army in the 1920s, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger every year. And it's so funny because, to me, National Donut Day is every day. And I love donuts, and I always have, and I always will. But there's something special about that, because it's the day that if you're that guy who shows up to work with bagels or muffins on Friday, just get out. Just get out.
Is National Donut Day always a Friday, or is it always
It
June
is.
6th?
It's always the first Friday of every June. And it's funny because, it's gone on for years, but then it was like these distribution companies that we work with, all these bakery companies, they started promoting it probably about 15, 20 years ago. It's always been there, but they really started pushing it. So what ended up happening was, about 10, 15 years ago, the bakeries would start paying attention to it, and they would use it as a promotion. And it's funny because I can remember I started about 10 years ago going over to Indy to every local news outlet, every radio station that would let me bring them donuts. And our purple box was the only box there. And we did that for about 2 years. I'm not trying to say I'm a trailblazer. I'm just saying I think we caught on in the indie market before a lot of other people did. And I'd say within 2 years, it was like everybody was doing that. And so it's kind of funny because it will be discussed on television and things like that, but it's not. Let's just say the news stations don't give out free press anymore for it.
Yeah.
They caught on. They knew what they were doing.
So why is it purple? Why is the box purple? Because I know in certain places, like in LA, they're pink, right? Donut boxes are pink.
Out west they are. I want to sit here and give you this reason of scientifically this or that. I had that logo made probably 18 years ago, and I knew someone who knew the guy who was the head graphics guy at Butler, and I needed a logo made. And I didn't have any cash to pay for somebody to do this. And this was before AI could just randomly make me one. So this guy, his name was Phil, I got introduced to him, and he was like, he's like, what do you like? And tell me a little about the business. Wrote up a little description of it. He sent me back 4 different logos, or 8 different logos. And that was the one I fell in love with, and just happened to be purple. But, red is a popular color amongst food places because red is psychologically supposed to make you hungry. But from a marketing standpoint, it's like, gosh, everybody has red. And purple, I don't even think Taco Bell was using purple at the time. Maybe not as a primary color, but maybe as a secondary. So I just thought, let's run with it. And the purple boxes worked out well. And funny story, true story, the day that our boxes arrived, because we ordered those and it took 6 months for them to come in. It was a big deal. We were really excited about it. And the day that they came in was the day that Prince died, Purple Rain.
No kidding.
So that's how I always know. Which, people might be like, Lee, you're really making a stretch there, dude. But you know what? I'm going to hold on to that for as long as I can.
I remember being a kid, they were always just white boxes.
They were. My
Plain
dad
white box.
was like, my dad just did not think marketing was something that was worthwhile. He just didn't do it. He was like, what's the cheapest? I'll take it.
I think they've become iconic now.
I think that they've really helped us stand out in a positive way. I would agree with that. I think it was a good color choice. I want to sit here and say I was a genius and did all this marketing research and everything. No, I just looked at it and I thought, you know what, that looks like the coolest color, and we can kind of take that and run with it.
So I wanted to build today's show with you around understanding like the past, the present, and the future of
Sure.
Jack's. Because it's been a really interesting journey. Jack's has been our hometown donut shop
It has.
as we've all grown up with it. And when you were here on the show, it had to be 2018, 2017.
Something like that.
You were starting to franchise out, and you were developing across state lines. And then it's gone to this distribution model, and then we see what the future is. So for those that aren't familiar or maybe listening from outside of the Henry County area, tell us about the history of Jack's Donuts and how you got to where you are.
Well, Jack's was founded in 1961 by my grandfather and grandma, Jack Marcum Sr. and Ada Marcum. And Grandma Marcum actually just passed away in January of last year. So she'd been around and gotten to see a lot of the success, which was really amazing. My grandfather, unfortunately, passed away in 84. So he hasn't really got to see it. So my grandfather ran it from 1961 to 1977. But even though he owned it from 61 to 77, my dad really started taking the reins over from like 72, 73 on. And then from 1977 to 2007, my dad had it. He was the longest tenured owner. I've got 17 years in. He has got, he had 30 years into it. And I will tell you that the older I get, the more I really, really respect him more for doing it, because running any kind of business, whether it's big or small, especially a retail outlet for donuts, I mean, that's a tough market to do. And when you can find your own niche and you can really, use it to build on something, it works. And I mean, I was, making jokes about my dad where he didn't see the marketing side of it. No, his thought was, it doesn't matter what anything looks like as long as the product's great. So he did that for years. And I got to give all kinds of props to him, because I mean, without him, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to do what I've been able to do so far. I don't think he ever gets the love that he deserves. My grandpa always gets it, and then people will praise me, but I don't feel like my dad ever gets the props that he deserves, because he, in my opinion, no disrespect to my grandfather, when we say Jack's Donuts, I think of my dad, Jack II. And that's not because my grandfather died when I was young. It's because he was the one who really, really made it into something that we could build into. His dream wasn't to own more stores, volume. His dream was to take care of Newcastle. And I got to tell you, it's like I said, I got nothing but love for the guy, and he's always going to be Jack to me.
There's something to be said with just to let your product speak for itself, because I remember I was at a tool convention one time for my industry, and there was a tool truck there, and they were dealing Makita tools. And I was looking at all of them. I'm talking to the guy. I was like, yeah, I don't hear anything about Makita, but these look really nice. Everybody's just like Milwaukee. Yeah. And he's like, well, there's two trains of thoughts. You spend all your money on marketing and you make a decent tool, or you just make a great tool that everybody has to have after they see it. And I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. And that's kind of reminds me what you're talking about with your dad. Is just like, hey, it's going to be the best donut that people have had, so they're going to come back and they're going to tell their friends.
Yeah, and you know what? I will tell you that I think that was able to work for years before social media, before the world that we live in now. I think you could do that. But now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's really an uphill challenge. And so that's kind of what I've been trying to do is, because as I was telling you, my dad had it till 2007. I bought it from him, started franchising in 2013, and really have just been kind of working to grow it ever since. About 2 years ago, we opened a new production facility here in town, and been working on. Still had some delays, had some issues with that. I mean, we've hit some bumps in the road from it, but we're moving forward ultimately. I mean, our staff is absolutely unbelievable. The people that we have at our production facility, the people at my store here in town, some of the best people you're ever going to meet on the face of the earth.
So tell us about that, because it's just, this is like sports, right?
Sure.
Folks become incredibly passionate about
Yes.
something, right? And you
Yeah.
feel like you own a part of it. So Jack's Donuts is our hometown brand.
Yep.
So right, wrong, or indifferent, people become possessive of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they want Jack's success to happen.
Mhm.
And if something's not going right or something changes, something's different, then they're going to have an opinion. Jack's always made the donuts in the store,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was hey, they're here.
Correct. Yeah.
You would go into Newcastle's
Yep.
location, even if you've changed the layout, you knew the donuts were right
Yep.
there. And then, hey, they're coming from across town.
Sure.
And then there were conspiracy theories of, oh my God, they're different, they're not the same, they're whatever. Tell us about the reason for, hey, the stores, you've grown, you've added franchises.
Sure.
So you went from in-store production to a central production facility.
Correct. And what ended up happening, the reason we had done that was COVID had really started all of that, because nobody was able to find help. The restaurant industry, the food service industry was completely wrecked by COVID. I mean, wages were skyrocketing and nobody was showing up to work. And I had a lot of grief from my franchisees about that, saying, hey, do we have a solution to this? And so that's why we initially had started to open our production facility. And as I've said, we've hit some bumps in the road, and we're working our way through them. We're not running away from any of these. We are fully focused on making sure that this place is a success, and not just with Jack's Donuts. I mean, we're going to be making product for companies all over the country, and eventually one day all over the world, right here out of Newcastle. That's what our plan is to private label co-packs and things for large grocery store chains, things like that. I can tell you, we are working tirelessly to do everything we can to bring this business to Newcastle. And it hasn't gone exactly the way that we've wanted to, obviously, but that's just part of life and that's part of business. And you know what you were saying, Jeremiah, you're exactly right. There's good and there's bad living in a small town. And the bad, you can take it is what it is. The good is that people care so much about it. They think that Jack's Donuts is their place, and I absolutely love that. But at the same time, though, I would say, I'm not just going to say this for myself, I would say this for anybody in town, is that when businesses in town go through rough patches or certain things are going on, and I want to point out that every business has something that's going on internally every single day. Some of them may be more salacious than others, but ultimately, I feel like we as a community really, really need to take some time to step back and really rally around people when they're really struggling. I had a business owner in town. I'm not going to say their name because I don't know if she wants me to mention her name, who I bumped into a couple weeks ago in the bank, and she was telling me about how their business had went through some tough times, and she'd said, business was great, but we got shredded on social media. And she said people were saying the most terrible things about us, and these are our neighbors. These are our neighbors that we're talking about, and I think it's so just kind of ironic that it seems like, I understand that people want to help. The best thing you can do is to go visit every business in your town. If you're going to eat at Applebee's in Newcastle. If you're going to go to Smoothie King, I have to tell a funny story real quick. So Candace Cody, a barber here in town, I'm not on Facebook. My wife is, and my wife told me about Smoothie King opening up. And obviously, I've helped open over 30 locations. And when you open a new business, it flat out sucks. I mean, it sucks. It doesn't matter how prepared you are for it. It is the hardest thing you are ever going to do in your life. And I've done it 30 times. And now, obviously, not as the owner, I think it's a lot more mental stress with that. And when you do it, it's hard. And it's even worse now in the age of social media. And my wife told me that Candace Cody, she shared something the other day, and I thought, man, that is absolutely perfect. She said, I went to Smoothie King. Line was a little longer than what I wanted. I liked what I got. And I would ask anybody to go and give them grace when you go. And I think she said at the end something like, be nice so we can have nice things in Newcastle. And that's really what it's about. I mean, set your personal feelings aside, pick each other up, and do what you can to help out your local community.
Now, you guys have been plastered all over Indianapolis news outlets.
Sure.
With the challenges you've had recently.
Sure.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, that's not really something I can really delve into.
That's just
much. I think
it's just kind of I don't know. I think there's businesses all the time that are going through exactly what you guys are going through, and I've just wondered through the whole scenario, like why is Jax getting all this attention?
I think that.
I'm not asking for conspiracies. I just
Oh,
I
no.
just don't know.
I mean, and honestly, I would love to sit here and tell you, I think honestly what it is I think that because we've been mentioned in the news for negative things in years past, and it never really ran with it. But when, any information has come out, it's one of those things where they see interaction, and if people are interacting with it, they will. And usually people do interact with negative things. And all I can tell you is that, yeah, we're going through a challenging time right now, but we're working through it. We're still open for business. We're still supporting our town. We're still supporting our schools. You're still going to see, there's, Jack Donuts is going to be at every cross country and track meet this year. If Zach allows it, he's one of those crazy coaches.
After the meet, not before the meet.
But what I would just advise is that when you see something, and I'm not even talking about me, when you see, because I can take the heat, that's fine. When you see something negative on social media about a business in your town, you need to say something about it, because ultimately we all have bad days. We'll have good days. We all go through good times, and we go through challenging times. And ultimately in a small town, it's our duty to look out for each other.
I can tell you that in my career, I've worked at the same place for 20 plus years. But I've had 3 or 4 different ownership groups, and we've had some times where things were amazing, and we've had some times where the market it went down, and the companies I work for had struggles too.
Sure.
And it's about how people get treated, how the attitude you have, and there's a business cycle, and things go up and down. And there's times when you're on top of the world and everything's great.
Yep.
And there's time where there's a struggle.
Absolutely.
And you got to fight your way through it, and you come out the other side. I think that there's no doubt that the profile of Jack's Donuts has become very high and did become high in marketing.
Sure.
You've been very talented in media yourself.
That. Thank you.
And once you have a certain amount of notoriety, when there are issues, then you start to see, you catch the flack.
You
right?
do. And it's one of those things that I accept as part of it. I'm not going to run away from any of my responsibilities. I mean, I'm here working every day, or I'm at our plant every day, doing whatever I can to keep things moving forward, along with our amazing staff. And that's what we're doing. I mean, I cannot tell you how blessed I am with the amazing people that I have in my life, not just counting my family, but I mean, obviously, but all of our employees are just amazing, amazing people. They really are. If you're ever in our store, I mean, it's one of those, I can tell you that everybody in there really enjoys what they do. And if they don't seem like they do every once in a while, let me know, because I want to know about it. But we all
have bad days.
I'm beyond proud to call Newcastle home. I really am. I live here. I want to be a part of this community, and there's lumps that happen with it sometimes. And if there would just be anything I could ask, is that when you see people online talking negatively about any business, and if they use it as, well, it's just Facebook, we're trying to keep people informed. No, you're not. You're posting that because people are going to just get on there and rip that business apart. So, and those who are listening know who I'm talking about, that we have the responsibility to pick each other up in these times.
And I'll say that Lee reached out to us, and he said, hey, we've got some people that have been negative. Yeah. Lee had worked things out with them, has settled the score with them, and invited them to come on the show. And Lee said, hey, if these folks want to come on, they'll come on.
Which I want to give credit to you, because one of them, you were like, absolutely not. And I told you, well, I want to get on because I want this person on because I know they said things about me online, and I want to get on to show that we can all be peaceful together. So, and you said you didn't want to. And when I told you that, compliments to you, Jeremiah, showing how much you do care about our community. You said, you know what, Lee, I'm going to let it slide. If that's what your intentions are, I think that's great. But that person would not.
Yep.
So what's been the biggest challenge right now?
I mean, honestly, business is business. There's ups and downs in it, and I can handle it. I think that the media attention would definitely be probably the most challenging thing with it, simply because I'm not saying people don't have a right to be informed, but the media is, because it's like, you know what, we've got something over here that we're working on right now. We don't have time to talk to you about this. And it's just, it is what it is. And it's a double-edged sword.
With the way that the articles have framed everything, it's made it's like, Jack's Donuts is closing imminently. Yeah. It's like closure is right around the corner.
You know what's funny is that nobody has actually said that in any of the articles. It's the people in the comments that
The
are saying
perception.
that. Yeah, the perception. Whereas you do know plenty, like Jeremiah, you said it, so many people that are in business that have had ups and downs with it. And I've had so many people reach out to me like, Lee, get it, man. Just keep fighting through it and everything will be okay. And that's what I've been doing and doing what we can do to make everything right for our community, for the people here.
Well, and I don't know how many employees you have, but whatever employees there
Yeah.
are, it's the livelihood of them.
Absolutely,
families,
yeah,
all of those folks are. Nobody wants to cheer against that.
You are exactly right, and I understand if there's people that feel like they have an opinion to voice, to just remember that it's not just me. It's everybody in our company, specifically Newcastle. I mean, I think we've got 30 employees right now at our production facility, 25, probably 25-ish. And out of those 25, well over 20 of them called Newcastle home. And we tried to do that. We tried to hire as many people as we could in town. Now, we didn't violate anything by saying that. I want to be clear with that. But people who are
Equal opportunity employees.
yeah, very much so.
You didn't go recruiting out of state.
You
wanted
are
to hire
exactly
people
right.
from home.
We really focused on the homegrown people of what we could get, and that's what we've gotten. And we've got so many amazing people.
So, okay. I do want to talk more about the production facility. And so the main reason for moving to the production facility was we need to give the franchise owners a break in trying to hire people to produce
correct.
the donuts and just have a couple people in the shop that are selling donuts.
Yes.
So what all gets made at the production facility?
So it's a combination of icings and glazes, wet ingredients, as well as full donuts. We still deliver fully finished donuts to certain stores every day, and there's some other ones that are making them in house right now. And I'm not going to sit here and run away from it. We did have some issues in the beginning. We had all gotten in a little over our heads with what we were doing to try and make the Jack's donuts that we need, that people were used to. And I'm not kidding you when I say this. It really did take us about almost a year before I feel like it's like, okay, these are Jack's donuts. Whereas I felt like there were little variations. I still thought they were great donuts, but they weren't what I was used to as much growing up. But we brought in some great people to help us get that, and I think we've got it now. I think the product is phenomenal.
I
It's
think
better
you
than it's
too.
ever been.
I know whenever it first started, it was like because we get donuts at work all the time, and it was like, oh yeah, this is different now.
Yeah.
And then someone was like, oh, they moved it to a production facility, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then it was like, oh, it's still a great donut, whatever. Just kind of like water off of a duck.
But you're inventing a new process as you go along.
You are
exactly
exactly
credit
right.
with that.
Thank you for clarifying.
how
that,
can you
Jeremiah.
not?
Yeah.
How can it not change a little
Well,
bit? And
you
then,
know, yeah,
but
and-
like you said, now they're Jack's donuts.
Yeah,
And
I do. I think they're better than they've ever been, and I'm really proud of that. But it took a lot longer than what we had anticipated. But we're there now, and I feel like, and I can tell you the proof is in the pudding. Our business right now in Newcastle, locally, is skyrocketing. So all those who are coming in right now, cannot thank you guys enough for spending your time with us, spending your money with us, for the love. It's so great. We're so grateful and so appreciative of it.
So the donuts are made in Newcastle and then they get distributed. How far out are they going versus
They're
some
going
stores that are
certain
making?
parts of the state. Yeah, little west or little east. I'm sorry, a little east, a little south, a little north.
So those are dropping in once a day to
Correct.
a store.
Yep.
They sell whatever.
And that's not something that we're completely abandoning. We're working through all kinds of things right now. And unfortunately, we've had to do it in the public eye. But that, like I said, I got my phone. There's good and there's bad things about that. But we're working through it. And I will tell you, I'm still glad to call Newcastle home. Still happy to be here. And yeah.
Yep. And then you guys have still got the full service beverages too. So
We do. I made the mistake of drinking my jelly donut latte before we started. It was absolutely amazing. I want to point that out. So shout out to the girls working tonight. Yep.
I've also killed my caramel roll. So we are loaded up on caffeine.
We are.
In the PM.
I started feeling jittery, so I had to slow down. The donuts, the candy, and now the energy drink.
All you need is a cigarette and food. You're good, okay? That's all you need.
With the wet products being made at the production facility, like the icing and stuff, that makes a lot of sense to me. And
can Dakota get a 5-gallon bucket of icing? That's what he's trying to ask.
I am a fiend for your vanilla icing. I love that stuff. I don't know what makes it different, but it's so different than all other vanilla icing.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what popped into my mind earlier. I couldn't remember what I had thought was different from that first donut like a year ago.
Sure.
And it was the vanilla ice cream because it's like my go-to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think icing is one of those
all the ones have been the same.
things that since I've been a kid has changed like everywhere. Like I remember you used to get a cake back in the day, and the icing would eventually like turn hard and get crusty, and icing doesn't do that anymore. And I missed that crusty icing.
It's like,
and your guys' icing just it's a constant. It hasn't changed like everybody else's has changed. So it's like, yeah, like Lee would remember Hardy bars. Like, I want to figure out how the heck they did the icing for a Hardy bar.
So good.
That was an elementary school thing, but like all the people are like, you don't see them anywhere else. It's like a hard peanut butter bar with the chocolate icing, and the icing and the chocolate or the peanut butter part was like, you don't see it anywhere else. It's weird. It's not like a fudge or whatever. So the icing is, I had just had a chocolate ice roll.
It's funny too, because ingredients for making the donuts, there have been so many things that have been banned that have been in our food over the years. Like, well, it tastes different. Well, it's because what was in there before gave you cancer. And it, it's so, there have been so many times where there have been times
I personally miss the arsenic donuts.
Okay,
I don't
there
know.
you go. Yeah.
I add a little bite.
Well, it's funny because there's so many times where I've had people say that, like, oh, I know something's different. I know something's changed in the last year. It's like, no, nothing's changed. And then there's been other times where in years past where we've literally had to change our process when we were just in the store of how we made stuff because an ingredient was taken out of something and it affected the way that the dough would rise. And we had to change so much. And we would try them and we think they were completely different.
And people wouldn't notice.
And people wouldn't even notice. So you just don't know what people are going to think. I guess if you can read people's minds, you'd be a bit.
There was a diner that I grew up going to with my dad, and not in Newcastle, but I won't name him. And we went there year after year as a child. And then I think we went back one time when I was like a senior in high school after a few years. And it was like, it's not as good. It was just breakfast food.
Sure.
But it wasn't as good. And my dad's like, they cleaned the griddle.
Oh, yeah.
I've
heard stories like that, yeah.
Mr. Freshies in Rushville, like, grew up like you had to get donuts. If you wanted donuts in Rushville, you had to get there before like 5 a.m. And every old grandpa, old man or whatever, and sat there, drank coffee, smoked cigarettes. And I think for like 2 months, they banned smoking in there. And the donuts, what the hell?
That's funny.
I'll tell you, that place, the owners of that place, some of the best people I've ever
Oh, they are. They are absolutely.
They're unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to give a special shout out to you guys for another thing I think has become pretty legendary, and that is the way you embrace April Fools every year with your new product lines. This year, I believe you came out with a hair care line.
I got to give credit where credit's due. My wife actually thought of that. And I was like, really? Because I'm used to always doing it, like coming up with some food flavor. That's why you always, or some random food combination.
You had the PB and onion roll.
Yes.
One year.
And that was something that we always used to do. And it was funny, but like, I think we did an avocado and egg one.
There was a salmon one at one point.
And so that was something, and then that I always liked to do was almost to like make it gross. But my wife was like, "Hey, let's try and do a different angle with this," and she knocked it out of the park.
People probably want it now.
They did. I bet I got at least 10 DMs saying, "Where can I buy this at?" Then I feel like a complete jerk.
Now you did have the lip balms from Beehive.
Oh yeah. Got big shout out to them. Love them. Amazing. And yeah, we've actually just got a new stock in right now.
There you go.
So when you get your donuts for National Donut Day this Friday, get some lip balm.
You probably could have done some water bottles that look like shampoo bottles.
Yeah.
It's just.
Crumble Cookies got deodorant.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we saw it
That's
in
the only
Walmart
deodorant
the
those
other
kids use.
we saw it in Walmart the other day. I was like, you want to smell like a crumble cookie? That's wild. It was a women's line.
I could smell you getting fatter.
Yeah. That's a good one. So yeah, but the April Fool's jokes are something. It's something we've embraced. It's been fun. So yeah.
Well, we've enjoyed that, and you guys being a part of the community. I wanted to make sure that this show still is a platform for you to talk and get your story out.
You guys are always great to me, so thank you.
I think a long form conversation is better than a quick sound bite or a drive by conversation.
Well, and ultimately too, you want to be with people that you can trust and that that are going to let you express what you want to express. So big thanks to you guys for doing that. And as I say, I cannot say this enough, how what you guys do is so important for the town. I mean, it really, really is. We need to stay involved. The world that we live in now is so online that I feel like those connections that we have with our neighbors aren't what they used to be, and we've got to change that. I mean, that's something that is just completely wrong. If they, it's funny because there are so many businesses in town, and I've lived here the majority of my life, left for 12 years and came back. It's so funny. There's so many businesses in town that I still didn't even realize existed. Like I can remember about 7 or 8 years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, my boys needed bikes. And I didn't know who the Pointer Brothers were at the time. And it was when they were in their low location. And I went to that place and had the best service. I think I bought 6 bikes from them. 7. Those guys are the greatest guys on the face of the earth, and they love Newcastle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so what it is if you need something, Google it first and Google to see if there's something close by before you buy it online.
And see if you can, if you're going to spend 5 or 10% more, buy it local and make a difference.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, you can always get it from Amazon or big box store or whatever. But if there's somebody that can actually give you the service that you need that's local as well, then do it.
Don't round up at Taco Bell. Give that money to a local small business.
100%.
All
right. Traffic and weather. Zach, you got our whole report today.
I mean, speaking of small businesses and needing support during tough times, all the businesses on 3 for the next 2 years are going to need some help.
Then we actually had a business, Broad Street Motors, posted on Facebook this week, and they said, "Hey guys, just don't drive on 3.
Yeah,
we've had so many cars come in this week with damaged suspension,
wheels, broken rims,
because." And I think we all kind of know where some of them are. There's these, and I don't think they're not even like potholes. I think they're drains that they've just buried.
So my day job is in road construction. So I'm constantly defending my biggest customer, NDOT.
Did you ever complain about a hole that's a similar situation on a city street, though? It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the same deal. So what they've done is that they are actively trying to redo the road. So you get down to about a 10-foot lane width. And on paper, that's fine. But the shoulder of State Road 3 has drains that have just disappeared. So you have an enormous hole where there should be a drain.
Some of them are like 4 to 6 inches below road level.
Yeah. And then you find yourself trying to not get hit by oncoming cars. So then you drive into the drain and a wheel drops into the abyss, and then you break a rim or whatever. I think they're switching traffic this week again to the other side of the road.
Today, potentially.
Yeah.
So this morning, I think
hopefully that should help alleviate some of the issues. I've not driven it in a day or two.
And I realize I'm a guest here, but can I say something to those who are listening right now? That if there's a new sign that pops up that says you can't turn on red, you cannot turn on red. I realize the sign is new.
That's not true. That's
I realize
not true.
The sign is new.
Come on, Lee. You know that stop sign in front of the cemetery is optional because you only have to follow it if you.
It's more of a yield.
If you drove after it was put in.
Yeah.
We do need to put on our defensive driving. We have to show our skills as drivers when you're going through a construction zone because things change every day. And just because it was one way last week doesn't mean it's that way this week.
I was laughing so hard when the Chamber of Commerce posted a video to Facebook showing people how to navigate the construction zone. And I was like, this is literally a scene from Parks and Rec.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will say so. And I think was it Indiana and 3?
Where
that needed a description though, and I think that they might have finally put some arrows down because the mayor the city said you have to put something down.
There were signs up above, but they were not. The pavement markings were suboptimal.
Yeah, suboptimal, and there was no lane marking. And I will say, when you're driving down 3, it's a lot to take in. And the last place I'm honestly going to look for guidance is in the sky. Like there's some because.
You're supposed to just pray as you go.
I know. Well, I saw my wife sent me a picture of a car that had gone on the wrong side of the barrels, and they were on the west side of the barrels, and they drove into one of the areas where they cut the road out to put a drain in. So their car dropped into a hole that's however deep the concrete is because it's all missing.
We haven't seen that car yet.
But I was like, I don't blame them because I think I mentioned last week. You turn if you're turning on to 3. Sometimes you have a hard time figuring out because the barrels are in no particular pattern or anything. You can't figure out where the actual roadway is and where the construction side is.
Under perfect conditions, the speed limit was 45. Slow it down to 25 and look around. Put the phone down. Don't change your radio station. Don't try to get the next podcast. Just let Boss Hog play and look at the signs. Read the signs. I will tell you that I co-host Chase Payton. I was at dinner with him and his wife last Friday night. His wonderful bride was ticketed or pulled over, not ticketed, but given a stern warning by a Newcastle officer because she turned right on red.
Right on red though.
Right on red. Where it's
Yep.
posted, don't turn right on red. And she said, I've never seen that sign. They said it's new. You have to look at the
Yeah.
signs.
Yeah.
It's you've got to pay attention to the surroundings today because things change.
They do, and they change every day. My wife was like, "You are such an idiot," because a couple of weeks ago I had told her how I was taking our kids to school, and she was like, "You can't go in the middle lane, even if it's just a turn, unless it's allowed." And I was like, "Well, there's enough, barrels that are just far apart enough I can drive through them." And she goes, "No." She said exactly what you said. She goes, "There could be a hole or something coming up that you don't even realize." And so I'm not going to sit here and say, that I haven't made my mistakes too, but
none of us
I'm
are
paying
perfect.
attention more.
Whoa,
And that's what you're saying.
Whoa.
That's what you're saying, Jeremiah, is that everybody just needs to pay attention more.
You got to be on high alert because it's an active construction site.
It is.
There may not have been a hole there an hour ago, but there is now.
Yeah.
You know,
And it'll be worth it when it's done.
one of those rim wreckers, I think, is right before you pass under the signs that tell you what lane to be in. So you look up to see what lane you're supposed to be in, and bam, your whole front suspension just collapsed.
In our house, we have a policy that we're taking that road at parallel, minimizing the amount of time we're on it.
Which is not taking
take one of the local roads.
The real key is
and-
to just
and
not
cut your
take
way
State
around.
Road 3. Yeah.
Yeah, today was the first time I had taken it in about a week.
It's not good.
I hit one of those, the one in front of First Merchants, First Financial. And it was jarring.
Yeah.
It was jarring.
And you're in a truck.
I come in on 38. I leave out on Main Street.
Yeah.
So that's your State Road 3 update. Good luck.
Yeah.
And the best part is that as all this extra traffic is at Main Street, we seem to have found a new natural spring on the south side of town because there's a lake developing on Main Street that's probably going to be
I'm waiting for them to deal with that.
I think it's just going to
Where's it
become,
at on Main?
about Southview.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's getting larger
There's
and
like
larger.
a cone or something.
At some
out
point,
there.
it's going to be a pond.
It's been there since the last water main break down that way, and it's like, which was right down the road from there, and they must have looked at it and thought, just not today, man, just not today, because it's not.
It's a new water feature.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. We've got a natural spring down there. They should have a little pipe and just so people can fill up their jugs. But
It's artisanal.
yeah.
Like a French now.
Yeah, but I did see, because 70 is still awful, and I saw that, was it 69? There were the state police posted that they pulled a motorcycle over for doing 126 miles an hour in a 55 mile an hour construction zone, which I don't endorse at all. But there was somebody that commented, like, maybe if NDOT kept their construction zones within a mile of where the actual work was being done, then people would show more respect. And I wanted to just preach, woman, preach, because I've been saying the same thing.
I will warn you
70.
that the tickets are about to get real with NDOT again too.
On the
I
cameras.
was in a meeting. Yeah, the cameras they're going to send out actual fines imminently.
It's
coming.
Set your cruise to 66 and you're fine.
Yeah.
Quick question.
65.
We have new concrete barriers now that might be aluminum or aluminum?
Yeah, aluminum. I think there are some steel barriers as well.
I saw that today on 465. I was like, oh,
Like
They're
temporary
more
ones?
portable.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't seen temporary ones.
They meet the spec.
They meet the spec.
They're throwing guardrails up on 70 now at Greenfield. Like they laid concrete down there. So that road on the westbound lanes is getting.
As
We just need sod and we're good to go.
I had an alibi.
It's all making me so mad I could set something on fire.
As I had an alibi this weekend, I was in Georgia, but I do need to check in with Dakota Davis. Were you hanging around Baker Park over the weekend
Nope.
with some kerosene?
I had a theory. So my first thought was, some kids out there, like 13, 14-year-old boys, and they had a lighter, and they thought, let's just see what
Maybe got away from them.
and it just went, and they freaked out and they
Out
just
there-
ran away.
Out
and
there
it
with the
got out of
magnifying glass, just
They're just looking for
burning
ants.
ants.
Yeah.
Because I thought, that's something I could have seen happening to me and my friends when we were around that age.
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially in the summer here, there are
Yeah.
kids just wandering around at all hours of
Right.
the day.
And, or maybe you've got a younger sibling or two and your mom's there at the park with them and you're just bored because, you're you're at that age where you can't really be by yourself and you're too old to be playing with a bunch of little kids at the park. So you're just like, oh, let's see what happens with this.
So 1:13 in the morning on Tuesday, June 3rd. I guess I was back in town, but I was asleep. There was a report of a fire at Cherrywood and M here in Newcastle. And it turned out that I guess it's field turf. Their turf on the playgrounds was it's artificial of some sort.
Yeah, the new playground in the middle of the park has turf.
It was in Fuego at 1:00 in the morning.
For those who don't know, artificial means not real.
Not real. It's the stuff they make. Never mind.
Finish it.
2 people were arrested. No, because I don't want to. No. We're happy and positive today.
Okay.
2 people are arrested. Christopher Crawford, 24 of Newcastle, and Jordan Weston, 32 years old,
Old enough to know better.
of Kennard,
Yeah,
Buy an Xbox.
possibly.
guys.
32. Dakota, that's like the parents of the people you thought might have done this.
Yes. Yeah.
Were
Exactly.
they drunk?
I didn't know.
Does it say that?
I don't know.
I don't think they found them fast enough to be able to do it.
Okay.
My
They find it for
grandma,
later in the day.
or actually maybe my great grandma used to always say that nothing good ever happens after midnight. At
Yeah,
1:13 a.m.
especially on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like
There were 3 individuals, but they're only publishing 2 names, which tells me that maybe there was a younger one.
if
Yeah.
it's one of their kids. Can you imagine if you're just out with your dad?
Father and Sunday at the park.
Or if if it's your ex-wife and it's your time with them, and then wow, would hate to be that guy.
When I was a kid, and I must have been 7 or 8, we were, for some reason, my dad and a group of his friends were playing hide and seek in a cemetery, and he had me with him, and the police obviously showed up because the cemetery is closed after dark, and instead of like my dad, which now I understand because I'm the age that my dad was then, instead of just like going up to the officer and being like, sorry, we'll leave, he just threw me over his shoulder and he took off running.
Well,
Each of these gentlemen are currently over at the Henry County Jail on a $25,000 bond. $3,500 cash bond would get them out today. They each have 3 felonies charged against them at the moment. So
They're lucky that playground did not go up because that turf, it's because there's a lot of
plastic.
metal, but there's a lot of plastic. There's a lot of like heavy, and that is one of those things. Is like, why can't we have nice things? I think that they built that playground
2023.
Like they built. I don't think the turf went until in the last year.
Yeah.
I think the turf was the last thing to go in there.
it's
My
a nice
son
area.
loves
It really is.
Yeah.
I know Aaron Dickin calls it puke park because it's a bunch of stuff that spins. There's stuff that spins you around, and he's but the middle school cross country kids love it. Like I let them go over there like once every week or 2. They're like, if we run, can we go to the playground? I'm like, yeah, and they like that playground. So it's a bummer.
All right, enough of the local.
The fun
traumas.
playground would have gone up like a fort, man.
The wooden playground.
The wooden one would have
You would have seen that from Pendleton.
Yeah.
Like,
There's enough lacquer on
I
that.
think that was fine. It would have been done. It would have been done before the fire department got there, and they're across the street.
I don't even think they allow smoking in that playground anymore.
Well, I don't think
You know, I don't want to be a kid anymore if I can't smoke on the playground.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm out. What's the point of being 14?
Marlboros and merry-go-rounds. Come on.
I can still remember my dad going on a field trip with me to Connor Prairie when I was in 1st grade, smoking on the tour at Connor Prairie.
In the school bus.
In the school bus.
Nobody
Windows
said
up.
anything, and he's lighting it up. Yeah.
Your
Speaking of
principal,
that,
your
Bones,
principal back then
how are we
smoked
doing?
in the school.
Month.
Yeah.
For that?
Yep. Oh,
1 month.
1 month cigarette.
1 month nicotine free.
Oh, good job, Bones. What an achievement.
We have suffered through the man quitting.
We
Yes.
haven't suffered for suffers.
Have you gained any weight?
I don't think so.
Haven't
I
done
stayed right around the 190.
He'd probably have to work pretty hard.
At 7 foot
he's a
one,
delivery
that's
guy.
fine.
So
I
he's
think
Yeah.
that's
not
right.
Well,
at
that's
the
what
chart.
everybody does when they quit smoking. It seems like that they gain
Yeah.
weight. So if
I
you have-
thought I would because that's all I do is eat.
Sure.
But the job kind of helps
Yeah,
keep
okay, well, that's
everything
good.
off. Yeah.
32,000 steps a day.
Yes. I think we were at 24 while I was in the car.
That's a light day.
It was.
So the fun news, since we were here last, the Indiana Pacers defeated the New York Knicks, and we're going back to the finals. First time, Lee, Zach, and I were probably all in high school the last time the Pacers went, right? 2000. I would have been like a junior. Bones, you're too young for this. You've been
No.
middle school age.
Middle school or at the end of elementary. But I remember him being in the finals.
Dakota,
Was not born.
I was 4.
he was a toddler.
Yeah.
You were Jackson's age the last time the Pacers made.
He
the
was
finals.
getting thrown over the shoulder and still
That's right.
being carried.
You were in your dad's
I
escape
was
plan.
running from the cops in a cemetery.
So this is pretty exciting.
It is. The Pacers, so I haven't watched pro basketball in a long time because it got really boring. It was kind of like pro baseball.
It got
games.
impossible to watch there for a while.
It just-
literally, I couldn't get the channel.
It had gotten to the point where like they're all just so good, you know, and where it was just like, ugh. And then the Pacers this year have been. Once I saw that they were really taking off, they were a fun team to watch. So much fun to watch. It's been crazy, especially the freaking two wild comebacks against the Knicks were just so much.
They had a
so
lot
much
of
fun.
comebacks.
Yeah, they did. They had
That's
one
been-
against Cleveland, Milwaukee, and New York.
New-
It's
yeah.
been. I'm a NBA savant. I love the NBA. It's my jam, and it's been so much fun to watch them because you enjoy it for so many years, but you're like rooting for another team. It's not, or not say rooting, but it's like, okay, I want this team to win the finals. For the
Right.
Pacers to be in it after 25 years is just unbelievable. It's so much fun to see them doing what they're doing, watching Tyrese and Reggie Miller, talk back and forth while Reggie Miller's calling the games. If I were a Knick fan, I would have been mad too. But I don't care. I don't like
He
them.
got to. I thought it was really cool that Reggie got to be the one to hand him the trophy.
Yes, that was
and
awesome.
in his last game at TNT, I'm sure he'll be in somewhere.
Winning
but-
at home,
Yeah, that was
closing out
really
in
nice.
Indiana was fantastic. I'm getting the goosebumps now. Just like the vibe felt very much like when the Colts beat the Patriots at home to go to the Super Bowl, like that celebration on your home arena. And I don't hate the Knicks. You could see the mutual respect between the fan bases now.
Mhm.
There's a little bit of ribbing of New York versus Indiana, and what the hell do they
The
have
New
there?
York
Dallas,
loyalty.
whatever. Hicks versus Knicks. But honestly, I think that's the second most. They played each other 9 times in the playoffs, right? Those guys have lost to the Pacers, I think, 6 times.
6 of the last 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't love drawing the Pacers.
Mhm.
No.
It's fun. You need rivalries in sports. I'm so excited to see the 90s rivalry of Knicks and Pacers.
Oh yeah.
Tough challenge going and playing the finals, just like it was when we had to play the Lakers back in the day, and you had
Mhm.
Kobe and Shaq.
Well, and I think, what you were saying earlier, how it's been 25 years. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was in high school. I remember it very, very vividly and was a big fan of the Pacers and still am. And I remember thinking, though, even it being my team, being like, they're probably going to get swept. Because you just saw what Kobe was turning into. Because was that his first title he had gotten? I think it was.
It was.
Yeah. It's so...
Because it would have been the Bulls, right? At that
Yeah,
time, the
you're right,
Bulls
yeah.
had just dominated
Yeah.
everybody. The
And-
Bulls and Rockets
yeah.
for like 8 years in a row.
Yeah.
Nobody else got a sniff.
And the biggest fear for the Pacers, I do think the Pacers can win. In 2000, you saw what Kobe was going to be. You saw what he was going to grow into. And I remember thinking, it's great the Pacers made the finals. There's probably not a chance they're going to be.
Shaq's the most dominant
Shaq,
players.
And I mean, Rick
Yeah.
Smits, he said he had more trouble with, Shaq said he had more trouble with Rick Smits than anyone ever. But you still knew that more than likely the Lakers were probably going to win. I believe that the Pacers can beat OKC. I really, really do. But the biggest fear that I have is that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on their team, I think, has the potential to be the next Kobe. And my fear is that, are we about ready to see the start of a dynasty in OKC? I hope not. I'm rooting for the Pacers. I really do think they can do it this time.
The teams have both been built in a very similar way, where this isn't our problem. I don't care, but it is 2 small market teams
Yes.
that are not able to go out and just write checks to bring in the biggest people. They've had to build through the draft. They've had to build through trades.
They've had to trade Paul George.
And they both traded Paul George. But they've built in a very smart way.
Built, not bought.
That it feels homegrown, right? You've got players that have been here for a long time. They don't feel like they're rentals. They feel like they belong to the Indiana community. And it's the first time that you've actually seen a real emotional connection from the community to the players again.
We did a partnership with TJ McConnell. We had the TJ McConnell roast last year. And I will tell you, TJ is without a doubt one of the best guys on the face of the earth ever. Like ever. He is so, so nice. And he bought coffee from us like a year and a half ago, and I was just going to give it to him because he did so much promotional stuff for us. And it was about $400 or $500 he ordered. He ordered a bunch of bags with his face on it, and he was sending it to all of his friends and family as a joke. And he was like, and it was like, I'll just give it to you. And every time I see him, he's like, I got to pay you for that. I'm like, dude, we're good. He's like, no, I'm going to give you a check. And he is like, they're all like the most genuine, down to earth people you could ever imagine. You could really ever imagine. I was talking to Pacer Security, and he told me that he was a part of the organization back in the Al Harrington, Jermaine O'Neal, Ron Artest, Steven Jackson days, the party.
Back when we needed security.
Yeah. And so he would always talk about, I mean, I've got some stories to tell you guys off the air, but the ones I'll tell you on the air, he would tell me, he was like, these guys would go out, they'd be out all night long, and you'd have to babysit them. He's like, these guys now, the team that they have now, he goes, these guys are up in the room playing Fortnite at like 9 p.m. They don't go out. And they're all friends with each other too, which is something that I think is very Hoosier. Like it really, really is. They really look out for each other. They really take care of each other. They're a great squad to watch. It's one of the few times where if you want your kid to look up to someone, that's the team you need to look up to.
One of these cities is going to win an NBA championship for the first time. Pretty cool.
Yes.
And there's if you guys are not Indianapolis Star subscribers, there's a story that is worthwhile. The mayor of Oklahoma City wrote an op-ed to Indianapolis and said, hey,
I was just looking that up.
We are here because of Indianapolis. In the 1980s, United Airlines essentially had a bid for a maintenance facility. Indianapolis won it. Oklahoma City said, what did we do wrong? And they studied Indianapolis, and they came in and they said, oh, you have a downtown that means something. You have 2 pro sports franchises. You've invested. You've become a landmark here, a place people want to be. You're not just a place that people happen to live. And from that, Oklahoma City copied a lot of what Indiana did. And about 2007, they were able to lure the Seattle Supersonics away. Mm-hmm. And that became the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now they're making their second trip to the finals now. But really, just a really cool story that no matter which team wins, of course we want Indiana to win, right? We're Hoosiers, but
yes,
there's some inspiration to be taken there as well.
It's still going to sting if the Pacers lose, but it won't be as bad if they lose to the Lakers.
Do you really think we do have a shot, though?
100%.
For what I've watched from the NBA, this is what I usually just, if the Pacers are on, I watch them.
I understand. I do. I think they do have a legitimate shot. I think they're the hottest team right now. I think Oklahoma City is the second hottest team. I think OKC is good, but they've shown some vulnerabilities in these playoffs. Like they went 7 games to Denver, and everybody is like, well, it's because Jokic. Well, still, if one player is able to stretch that series out to 7 games, it shows a lot that the Pacers really do have a chance. I do. I think they can easily win.
Rick Carlisle is no joke.
I think he is the X factor. I think Carlisle is going to be the biggest difference of anything because he can make adjustments like nobody's business. I went to a luncheon one time at the Fieldhouse, and he was there, and he did a little Q&A, and the Fieldhouse in Indy. He's probably one of the, I don't want to say he's not weird. He's just a guy is just really passionate about what he does from the brief interactions I've had with him. But he knows what he's doing and he knows he's good at it. And if it's distracting him from it, he really doesn't want any part of it.
Now imagine being my uncle in high school having to guard him back in the day.
Your uncle guarded him? Really?
Yeah, they played high school basketball.
I heard he was a stud in high school and college.
Augsburg and Messina.
Yeah.
Those little towns in northern New York.
Jeremiah just occasionally drops some lore from his life that you're like, what?
That is awesome. That's a really cool story.
Yeah.
No one can ever look it up and see if it's actually true. Just Jeremiah.
Look it up. Look where he's from, man. That's like when we were little basketball mecca.
Well, my cousin up in Lafayette cut Axl Rose's hair before he left for Los Angeles. That's not true.
Send him straight to stardom.
Yeah.
But think about that, right? Like you're sitting there trying to play high school basketball, and it's against this dude that's going to win NBA championships.
Yeah,
as a basketball, as a coach or whatever. I'm like, sorry, you're going to have to cut. You're going to have to build, put windows in it for a living.
If you at any point were like, if an NBA player was around, if an eventual NBA player was around, you're aware when they came through. Because I remember when Zach Randolph came through to play basketball in the Fieldhouse in Newcastle, and I remember a bit of Bonzi Wells, but like especially because
they're
they're all huge. Like you see an actual 7-foot
different,
basketball
yeah.
player, and I played against one. He didn't go on to do anything that I'm aware of after high school, but like I'm kind of tall, probably in basketball shoes. I'm 6'3", and I was staring at the numbers on this kid, and the only clothes he was wearing besides his basketball uniform were overalls because that's all they could find this kid to fit. So yeah, when you see a kid like that. And when they're in high school, even if they're not great yet, because a lot of times they're still physically developing, you never forget like walking in and seeing
that
somebody.
that was the big surprise about Zach Edey. It was that he was that big and he could
Move
maneuver
around.
his body that well.
I think it's amazing to see what he's doing in Memphis. I did not think he was going to be the success that he is, and he's killing it. I just didn't think he was
You
strong
thought he was
enough.
just going to be a big man,
I
6',
did,
7th guy off
but
the board,
I-
and that
yeah,
was it.
I didn't think he could ever shoot the ball, and
I didn't either. He has totally proven me
Yeah.
wrong. So
Yeah.
props to him. It was more just about
You can
physical limitations. He's
yeah.
just skinny.
You
But
can see
put
how
on
much
weight.
how much weight he's put on. Like
Yeah.
they've obviously done some physical development coaching with him.
What you know who
because-
did that too is Gordon Hayward. He left Butler looking like he was 16,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like 2 years later, he looks like he's 42-year-old dude.
Yeah.
Like he went to like lumberjack school or something.
I would love to know the amount of calories that they have Zach eating right now.
Oh, all of them.
Like just like what is it? Because
what's in this box right here?
Yeah.
My dad and my Uncle Gary had to play Little League Baseball against Jim Shays too, who the Cubs color guy now, and a Hall of Fame one vote. Guy got one vote for the Hall of Fame by a writer in Houston. That was a jerk. Just to give him a vote, he got one. But dude played in Major League Baseball for like 12 years, drafted for the Yankees. Anyway, that's a tough. You never know who the hell you're playing. You think
That's
God,
true.
you're in Little League, and you're like, I can't get by this guy, and the next thing you know, he's in MLB. You never know who you're measuring yourself up against. So enjoy the ride. It's going to be fun. First game's tomorrow night, so Thursday night. I'll be at a concert in Indianapolis, so I guess we got to.
No, I think with your concert, I think you guys will be done by 7, won't you?
Concert.
Dwight Yoakam. So I mean, we have to
Dwight
get
Yoakam with the opener. There's no way Dakota's going to know who this is. Do you know who the Mavericks are?
Oh yeah.
Dakota?
Hmm.
No, they're like this Texas, Louisiana swing country band kind of deal.
concert starts at 3.
They are the 7. I don't know if it'll be. It's June in Indiana. It may be, even if the concert lasts till 9:30, it still may be daylight by the time we're done.
Yes.
There's a buffet between the shows.
Dance the night
Grace
away?
Brothers.
Yeah.
No, bingo. Bingo's called.
Bingo.
All you ever do is Bring Me Down.
Yeah.
That's their. That's probably the one you might know. So yeah, the Mavericks. They're the opener. I didn't even know.
Dwight Yoakam too.
Yeah, this is my second time seeing Dwight Yoakam. My wife is a saint for going with me, but I am Guitars Cadillacs is like that's right here, man.
Flowing Waters has ran a big RV bus for all the senior citizens to come out to the concert.
Dwight's gonna get out and go, where the hell's the casino? I haven't played anything that's not a casino in years.
Buck Owens' Streets of Bakerfield's better though.
It's the same album. Yeah, just looking for a hit. That was the Dwight Yoakam, like 1992. I don't think he's gonna do any acting, but I'm excited. Whatever.
His best acting was in
Waterworld.
Was he in Waterworld? I don't remember that. I was going to say, what's the movie with
Sling Blade.
What's the movie with Owen Wilson? No, not Sling Blade either. Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, where they're Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers,
At
yeah.
the very
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
he's only in the beginning of it. Yeah, he's hilarious.
How old is Dwight Yoakam?
Probably 70.
Yeah,
He's from
okay.
Kentucky. He's local.
Oh, he's
He's
68.
from Pikeville, Kentucky.
He's only 68.
Yeah.
What?
He's been
got-
doing
he
doing
was
this for
around
a
when
while.
I was
lot of
a
miles
kid.
left,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
A lot of miles left.
And he seemed old when I was a kid.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, he'd be like,
He's
well,
never seemed young.
He's like Hulk Hogan. Have you seen that meme online where it's got a picture of Hulk Hogan when he first won the belt and he looks like he's 50 and like he's 34 in this picture.
Yeah. All those old pro wrestlers
oh
were
yeah,
like that.
little like Wilford Brumley.
Yes.
Like dude's been 75 years old for 40 years.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my
Ric
god.
Flair's the same way.
Oh,
Like he
yeah.
always looked old, but he just never was.
We're Clint Eastwood, who just had a birthday.
Yeah.
I mean,
Clint Eastwood seems like he's been in the 80s and 90s for the last
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I went
Yeah.
on a Clint Eastwood run like 2 weeks ago watching his movies. to go to sleep to. My wife's like, "What are we watching?" I'm like, "The good,
Here
the bad, and the ugly."
Here in about 15 years, I'm finally going to be the age Dakota's always been.
We're watching the good, the bad, and the ugly. Just go to sleep.
Nothing like a movie with a good gunfight to go to bed. Just like about the time you're about to nod off, it's just boom, boom, boom.
Dakota hasn't missed an episode of Ponderosa in 3 years.
I've never seen that show.
How's Hoss? I have bad news. I'm not sure that Dwight Yoakam was in Waterworld. Where did I get that from?
I don't know. Just
Okay.
like you're.
I'm just trying.
I'm
to
glad
figure
I didn't lie to try and sound cool. Like, yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember
he's
what
in there.
Yoakam-
No,
Yeah.
you've got to hold your convictions, Lee.
My uncle played basketball with Rick Carlisle.
I was right on that one. Anyway, that's
Just like Waterworld.
Let's move to final thoughts, Mr. Bones. Has your strawberry drink there grown on you?
It is. The tartness is like hits you all at once, then it just kind of mellows out.
I'm gonna take this home and put it in the fridge and drink it tomorrow as a pre-workout.
You
If you want to
should.
dump it out, just dump it
No,
out.
I'm not
You're gonna get up at.
I can't.
You're
do
gonna
it.
get up at 2 a.m, Dakota. What time? What's your routine nowadays?
I have a wristwatch alarm that just vibrates, and then it goes off at 4:28, and there's a super loud alarm that's across the room that goes off at 4:30 that I know will wake my wife up and piss her off.
I was going to say.
I was gonna say.
So if that one goes off
So
at 4:31, you're being bludgeoned by your wife.
it's- you have to get up
I have
now.
the silent alarm on so that it doesn't wake her up, and then that one
You have
is the
3
threat
minutes.
that I have to get up and turn it off before it goes off.
Are
You got up
are-
at 2:30 to go to Atlanta.
What?
Jeez.
That was me.
I know.
Yeah, Patreon.
How much does this thing shake? Because there's no way I'm waking up to a vibrating thing on my wrist.
No comment.
We're not touching that
You
one.
got real quiet.
I'm not touching anything vibrating in your house.
I used to be a really
Probably a
heavy
smart idea.
sleeper before I became a dad.
Okay.
I used to have to. I had the super loud alarm clock that's across the room. Also has flashing strobe lights, and it also had a puck that went under your mattress to shake the mattress. So it was just like crazy alarm bells going on.
I can't believe she didn't divorce you.
Wake up with a shot of adrenaline. The only thing that she ever made me do is take the puck that vibrates the mattress out from under the bed. That was too much for her. She could go back to sleep for the rest of it. Just not the earthquake. I also bought this thing called a
She still has the
Screaming
puck.
Meanie.
It's just not.
There's an alarm clock called a... I didn't hear that one. Not having the headphones just screwed me out of a good joke.
She still has the puck. He just doesn't know where it's at.
So there's an alarm clock called a Screaming Meanie, and it is extremely loud. And it was so loud that it would wake me up from downstairs in the kitchen of my house, and that is where I had to put it so that I had to get up, go downstairs, and turn it off.
They make one
At
that
one point in my life,
They make one that's on wheels, and when it goes off, it shoots off your bedside table and starts running across the room. You have to chase it.
that would have been a good one to have. I went a long string there where it was a wonder I never got fired from any job because I was just constantly.
You were that guy who was always late.
running late. Yeah, like from the age of 19 to 20 or 21.
Mhm.
There's like a 2-year period where I was just like, I got to get my act together. This is so bad. That's why I have all these alarm clocks.
I'm at the point now where I wake up an hour before I want to wake up. That's where I'm
Because you
going
got to
to.
pee.
Yeah, well, yeah,
That's what it is.
You
That's
get up,
me.
you got to go pee, and then you get back
Yeah.
to bed and go, hell, I can't sleep now.
Yeah.
I'm up.
The dogs wake me up every day at 6 o'clock, no matter what. 6 o'clock, dogs want fed. They're up.
Take him to adjust to daylight saving time.
It doesn't. They don't understand.
Now they're
I know.
5.
Yeah. Now they're up at 5 or they're up. Yeah.
Bones, final thoughts. We gotta start to wrap things up here.
I got nothing.
You got nothing? You got
Nothing.
horse races to bet on?
Oh, we do. But if you guys really want numbers,
I just want to know what's happening because I know
It
it's
is
20
Belmont.
Degenerates. This is the final portion of the Triple Crown.
it is.
Are our famous horses in it?
Yes.
Sandman,
No. Sandman's out.
is he alive still?
Yeah.
Has there been a
Oh, yeah.
tragedy?
No tragedy.
Is he glue?
He's not glue yet.
What are the horses we have? Secretariat.
Yes. Seabiscuit,
That's it. Yep.
Seattle Slew,
And Cigar.
and yes,
It's a hell of a lineup.
it's going to be a hell of a race. Tune in to your local listings for that one.
All right.
I got nothing.
All right. Fair enough. So the last leg of the Triple Crown is on, but we're not going to Triple Crown, so nobody pays attention.
Yeah.
You know, IndyCar happened this weekend.
They did.
Blow got crashed out.
I know. I had them. I went back down in the fucking standings.
Yeah.
I hate this IndyCar shit. I'm not good at it. This is dumb.
Fantasy IndyCar is very difficult.
I'm not good at it either, and I watch everything.
Chase Payton is no longer in first place.
I wait till after qualifications to fill out the rest of my team. I had a couple of openings. Still not great.
Final thoughts, Zach?
Broad Street cruises this weekend. I think they might have good weather for the first time. I should check. They've had horrible weather for the first couple this year, so I'll be looking forward to that. Although I guess I might not. We'll see if I'm around. I'm trying to get some camping in. Other than that, no. Thanks, Lee, for coming. I remember back in the day, there wasn't a lot going on in Newcastle. There weren't a lot of places to eat, and now we're at a spot where we've got like restaurants to go to, good restaurants to go to.
We got a brand new restaurant downtown.
I saw that.
The early whatever the cafe is that was.
Somebody bought the early bird.
Yep, the early bird has relaunched as something else, and it looks great.
Yeah,
really okay.
And
they did like a soft launch this week.
Yeah, I'd only been early bird like once because for some reason I felt like it was one of those places I was going to walk into, and a bunch of old guys that are always there every day were going to look at me, and everything was just going to stop.
Those are the best places to go.
I know. I bet
it's the bar where the record stops.
Yeah, but I mean, it was. I think the one time I went there was good though. But like, yeah, and one of those things is like Lee was kind of like at the beginning of that because you stuck around and you could have, you kept things going and invested in downtown and invested in Newcastle. The drive-through, by the way, I know it's a franchise, but I do love the drive-through downtown.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, like Newcastle's in a good spot. Like the last time I saw Lee, he was handing out donuts at the Easter egg hunt with the Pointer Brothers, who are fantastic. Like I
shout out to those guys.
Yeah, they are amazing. They do great stuff for Newcastle and the community and overall. And like they're constantly they give out bikes, and people have seen the bikes that they give out. Once a year, they do it's turned into a huge thing down on Broad Street where they give away a bunch of bikes. And then the city people start raising money to buy other bikes to give more bikes away. And like they started that whole thing, and their bikes are nice. Like they're a cut above like what you get like the box stores, whatever. So it's really cool. And I'm assuming you knew about this back in a couple of years ago, State Fair. I've talked about this on the show. They had a train, and the train had it was about business in Indiana. And when you walked in, the first thing you saw was the Hoosier Cabinet Company, which is from Newcastle, Indiana. I forget, it was like Innovation or something like that. And you walk through, and there's different examples in Indiana. The first thing was Newcastle. The last thing was marketing, and it was Jack's Donuts. And it was Lee. That was Lee. And I remember I went to school with Lee. Lee's a year older than me. We went to Riley together. And I was like, this guy took a business and is just like taking it by the horns and wrestled it and turned it into something. And when I first started where I work now, I was the only person that could take those boxes into work because there was only one Jack's in the whole state. Now there's boxes constantly. And I'm like, I still take pride in like mine are the OG. I'm getting them from the original.
That's the pitch I give. When I bring this to Ohio, I say, hey, these franchises are all over the place, but this is from the original location.
Yes.
These came from the original.
That's been impressive to see is like from people like, where are these from? And now everybody's like, oh yeah, you brought those in, and they're like digging through the box to find their favorite one. So, yeah, but my mom does want the ones with coconut on more often.
All right. Tell her I'll work on that.
Not the rolls, the round ones. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Because apparently your mom loves them too.
Yeah.
And she's like, why aren't we getting them more often if his mom's about them? So yeah. So thanks for coming on. I hope
I'll just into custom orders.
I'll keep buying donuts. I do. Well, do you ever like just get a hankering for something and just call down there and be like, hey, I want this tomorrow?
Usually in my 30s and 20s, when I drank a little bit more, I would do that. Not as much now.
I have the opinion, and this is controversial in my office because there are some people that have specifics that they like.
Sure.
And I say, look, you just got a dozen free donuts. I've never had anybody get donuts before and say, well, I don't like these.
Yeah.
There's 12 to choose from. Pick one and be happy.
Appreciate it.
I say it's sorted. Pick whatever you want. They're all good.
The only thing I do when I get a box, I don't like peanuts, and peanuts tend to invade all the donuts. So I just say
they do.
But other than that, I just go in there. I'm like, give me a dozen, mix it up, no nuts, and that's all. And that's only in. I'm like, whatever else, just fill it in, or whatever. And they're like, do you want any specific? I'm like, I'll take one of those.
Or if you say, if there is somebody that does want nuts in the dozen, have them just tell them ahead of time. Say, hey, the one has nuts. Can you put that in a separate bag? And
I'll do that once in a while because I'll get a couple extra. I'm like, throw these in a bag.
Oh,
and
so you're that guy.
Well, no, but I'll go back because the reason why
bag costs have gone so high.
Yeah, the reason why is to tell you, I'll go back by my house and I'll drop those donuts off for my family so they don't get left out because I take the rest to work. And
I get that.
So yeah,
I appreciate that. Thank you guys for the kind words.
Awesome. Lee, thanks for being here. We really genuinely appreciate having you here.
Guys, I cannot thank you enough. Like I said, support this platform. Everybody watching, keep watching it. Get involved in your community. Stay positive. Lift each other up. And National Donut Day is this Friday. Do not be the guy that rolls in with cookies or something like that. It's Donut Day, and that's the only thing that's acceptable. Well, on any day, really.
No bagels on Friday.
No bagel Friday. And I love bagels. I want to say that. So no hate on bagels. But Friday is Donut Day. Stop in and see us. Be open at 5 a.m. till 1 a.m. Saturday morning. Drinks, donuts, you name it. We got it. We want to see you guys. We're playing on a big day.
That's fantastic. D Squared, thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Saturday, you're in the Tobias Fuke lookalike contest.
Yeah. And
you finished first and third.
Hamilton County.
Down at the 4-H barn.
Come support me.
Wear your jeans shorts just like Dakota does as never nude.
Costs $1 for a 50-50.
6 or 5.
6 or 5.
Yeah. It's got to be the 6 or 5. Your arms length for 10.
I swear to God, if people don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Arrested Development and then look at what Dakota has turned into.
Yeah,
it's
really funny.
Uncanny.
I take it as the highest compliment.
The chest hair showing through today is what's really sending it.
I love David Cross. He's one of my favorite comedy writers. So I take that as a high compliment. I do want to give a shout out really quick to my dad, my son, and I were in a fishing tournament on Saturday, and it cleaned up.
I saw there were some very large bass on the pontoon.
Yeah, there was a really nice bass. Very nice. It was funny because we caught approximately 20 pounds of fish. And I caught a lot of bluegill that day, a couple crappie. We got 3 large fish. So we got 1 large blue catfish, 1 huge largemouth bass, and a really decent sized perch. Those were the only 3 fish my dad caught. So he caught all the giant ones, and I caught all of the small ones.
He's learned how to be crafty in his old age.
He's figured out quality over quantity, and I haven't gotten there yet. But it was a really good time. I just, now I'm wanting to fish all the time.
Well, we've got a boat that hasn't been used in a while, so we'll find an excuse to bring it out. All right. Well, this has been fantastic. Looking forward to the Pacers. I'm still working on my summer hobby. I've been opening my pool for a month, and it's. I will remind everybody: don't buy a pool. Go to somebody's pool. Don't buy a pool. Go to somebody's pool. And if you get invited to a pool party, bring the drinks, bring the donuts, have some fun, and say thank you. Because my God, are they a headache? But by August, we should be able to swim in the damn thing this year.
If you want to go boating or swimming, call Jeremiah. He's got both of those things. Which are things that the best ones are the ones that other people own.
I bought a house with a pool in 2013, and this year the hair is falling out because of it. But we'll get there.
Well, hey, shout out to you guys for having the NHL finals on. We came in.
We got the playoffs on. Florida's leading Edmonton. 2-1 as of the moment. We'll be back a week from tomorrow, Thursday.